Okay, welcome back to members of 121 Community Church in Grapevine, Texas, and our ongoing study in a collection entitled New Studies in Hegel, published by Holt and Rinehart in 1971. We're going to take a look at an essay by Hyppolite entitled Hegel's Phenomenology and Psychoanalysis, pages 57 to 71. Basically, it's taking a look at Hegel's anthropology, so Hegel's doctrine of man. We'll look at it in 3 moments. Let's go to block 1 and we'll get started. Okay, the logic of the psyche. In itself, psychoanalysis is a type of drama. It's a gradual discovery of the self, where we reach final revelation as what Hegel calls absolute knowledge. Then we have out for another as psychoanalysis as the gradual discovery of the self. And it takes place, of course, through the dialectic of intercommunication with the hope of reaching mutual recognition. And it is, for Hegel, it is our appeal to God for universal truth. Our involvement in the dialectic is an appeal to God for universal truth, for the revelation of universal truth. So block 1, note 3, the return for the self is that appeal to God. Through the play of intercommunication with other selves, we begin with mere natural consciousness, called the unconscious in psychoanalysis, and it's ignorant of the spiritual self, a failure at true recognition. What we're involved in is a process of ontological consciousness. We begin with sense certainty. We begin in a state of despair as a drama of tragedy. As a drama of tragedy. But there does remain a glimmer of the true self as seen through a veil. And so we do anticipate that newness of a self. We do anticipate that truth being revealed to us. But we must transition to the out of the I of the self, out of the ego, to the we of the self, and negate the ego. The we as ontological tutor emerges, and true drama as philosophy emerges, where we can actually find that final revelation and the truth of the absolute through the drama as genuine philosophy. And remember, for Hegel, all philosophy is theology. For Hegel, all philosophy is God talk. All genuine philosophy is theology for Hegel. Let's move on to block 2. Okay, block 2. We're going to look at the gradual discovery of the true self. We begin with self-consciousness for the other, and Hegel calls that a drama as a mirror play. We see ourselves in other self-conscious selves. We enter into the mirror relationship. And Hegel calls this genuine dialogue within the realm of spirit, genuine dialogue within the realm of the infinite. We find ourselves in another manifestation of essence in other self-conscious selves. We sublate this surface otherness, and we affirm the inner certainty of true being. We affirm the inner certainty of true being. So it becomes a drama as a play of presence and absence. We posit the true genuine self outside the self in order to initiate that process of mutual recognition. And that's a mirror play. And it will bear fruit. This mirror play of the interplay between self-conscious selves will bear fruit, because it is the mirror play of mutual recognition, Block 2, Note 3. Self-consciousness is formed as a mirror, and it makes history possible for the very first time. We are to be the self in the other we encounter. That's that metaphorical we that Hegel always talks about. We are to be the self in the other self, in the other that we encounter. We pass over to becoming more concrete. We try to make our essential understanding concrete as art, as religion, and as philosophy. It's a self-realization of the desire for the true. And we do actually anticipate and intuit the eventual unity of ourselves and the other self-conscious selves. We do anticipate a unity within a communal atmosphere of genuine community that participates in the realm of spirit as mutual recognition of the true, as mutual recognition of the absolute idea, and the absolute idea is divine, deity for Hegel, and we want that to be realized in community as a mutual recognition within ourselves and all other selves in the community. We want to create this mutual recognition of deity, of the absolute idea. So we've looked at the logic in Block 1. We've looked at the dialectic in Block 2. And in Block 1, let's go to Note 3 in Block 1, because it really is all about that appeal to God for final revelatory truth. And it is the various stages of ontological consciousness where we form a worldview, a structure of existence, an ontology. In Block 2, Note 3, we are involved in a dialectic as mirror play that seeks to reach mutual recognition in the realm of positing, which for Hegel is the realm of spirit. We live in the realm of spirit, we participate in the realm of spirit, and it is a realm of positing where we work on the formulation of a final, authentic worldview of an organic whole that encloses all of the essences, all the concepts within itself. And we gain that through dialogue with others, and we will exchange ideas, we will exchange notions of relationship. Should this concept be related to this concept? Is this a overarching category, or is this a sub-concept in a subsystem? All of these questions are taken up in the dialogue with others in the realm of spirit, in the realm of positing, all in an effort to reach that final revelation of an ontology, a worldview that is genuine and does enclose the universal essences within it, the universal categories within it, along with any subsystem concepts. Let's go on to block 3, and we'll take a look at the third aspect of this anthropology. Okay, block 3, the appeal to God for truth and the law of the heart, what Hegel calls the law of the heart. The law of the heart is a psyche with a universally valid desire, a desire for a community of truth, a universality that we want to actualize in a concrete way. In a world that seems to us to be ethically or morally completely upside down. Now today we have that. In the cult of the woke agenda, we have a morality that is completely upside down. So this is not just for the late 19th century. Hegel is for us today as well. We have that desire to actualize the universal revelatory truth through our ontological worldview in a world that seems morally upside down. Today, that horrible sin and failed ethics is in our society, it's the cult of the woke agenda. And most recently, that cult of the woke agenda decided to mock God in the opening ceremonies to the Olympics in Paris. And so it's very much active, and whether they know it or not, God will not be mocked, but it's a very, very visible illustration of what I'm talking about here. In our society today, we have a morality that is upside down in the cult of the woke agenda. We seek 3-2 concrete realization, energia, of the universal within the psyche, through positing our ontological worldview and to eliminate the false abstract duality between subject and object. Hegel his entire system is trying to eliminate the duality between subject and object, because he wants us to realize that we need to live in the realm of spirit, and in that realm of spirit we posit our worldview as an internal externality, an internal construction posited as a filter at the edge of objectivity. Therefore, subject and object become united. They are both a side of a hinge, and Hegel calls this the hinge moment, where we posit our internal externality of a worldview. And from our past lessons, we know this worldview is what? It's the teleology of the ontological trinity. Our worldview is I'll use eschatology. Our worldview is an eschatology of an ontological trinity. The Father, in himself, goes out of himself to create. The Father goes out of himself in the Son to redeem. And then the Father returns to himself as Holy Spirit, lifting creation up through new heaven and new earth to return moment back to the Father. It's an ontological trinity that is in movement toward the eschaton. Our lives are taken up into the history of Christ, and our lives are moved through that history of Christ toward the eschaton, the eschatological realization of the kingdom, and it's going on right now. in the realm of spirit behind surface reality, as dunamis, potential of spirit, passes over into energia, actualization of spirit. Behind surface reality, there's a realm of spirit moving all the time from dunamis to energia. Let's go on to 3.3. And now we move on to the drama of final judgment. We have a need for justification within our dialogue with others. This is the drama of judgment as we die to the old base psyche and say yes to the new noble psyche. Our call for ultimate meaning is found in Hegel's idea of the speculative Good Friday. Hegel says the call for ultimate meaning is found in the speculative Good Friday. And we've discussed that many times before, but for Hegel, ultimate absolute idea is the speculative Good Friday as the negation of the negative. All negativity in the cross is negated and overcome by the resurrection. All negativity in the cross is negated and overcome by the resurrection. And I think of the Gospel of Mark that we just recently studied in Life Group. The Gospel of Mark, if you take up textual criticism and remove the ending that was added by a scribe, if you have a good study Bible, you'll see the note on that, and it'll say Mark really ends here. There is a ending that was added by a scribe in later manuscripts, but for me that doesn't weaken the gospel, that strengthens it, because if you have to shorten the ending, then the ending of Mark is the confession by the centurion at the cross that Jesus is the Christ. That's the ending of the Gospel of Mark. The Gospel of Mark ends with Christ on the cross, and the centurion declares, a Roman centurion declares that this Jesus was the Christ. We have a confession of Jesus as Christ by a centurion at the close to the older manuscripts of Mark, the Alexandrian manuscripts. They're the oldest manuscripts we have. And so it's a very powerful ending, a confession of Jesus as the Christ by the Roman centurion. And we have the revelation of the cross as the speculative Good Friday. Mark has Christ crying out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And the resurrection negates that God-forsakenness and overcomes that God-forsakenness as revealed in the cross. We always look at the cross coupled with the resurrection. So after 3 hours of darkness, the earth quakes, the veil tears in half, and the centurion cries out, "This Jesus was the Christ." We have a confession by a Roman centurion that Jesus is the Christ. And I think Mark is very powerful. And it goes along with this final drama of judgment by Hegel. That wraps up a pretty good little article here by Hyppolite, pages 57 to 71, on Hegel's doctrine of the psyche, or simply say Hegel's anthropology. That wraps up Hyppolite on Hegel's phenomenology and psychoanalysis.